This is day 1553 since Richard was code red murdered. That's premeditatedly murdered, an internal order to murder him because he was a whistleblower on Fort Bliss. Fort Bliss soldier whistleblowing, not just any whistleblower, but whistleblowing on the trafficking to Child Protective Services, to, in communication with the IG, with the FBI Houston, with Washington, D.C., which we want to talk about today, with 911, with the CID, with the Fort Bliss CID, which we want to talk about too all the time on that one, because that connects Leilani Hart and Richard's platoon leader, which are the prime suspects in Richard's case. Let's see if I'm on. Let's see if everything's working right. It looks like everything's working right. Um, so we have so much breaking news, so much news. There is so much information that is just jaw dropping in this case. And we have felt like that for a long time. And yesterday we finally put it up, or was it this morning? I think it was this morning. But we had decided yesterday that we would start with our live streams of this, our son's case, Richard Halliday, the Fort Bliss whistleblower soldier that was code red murdered on Fort Bliss, which is officially declared that he was murdered on Fort Bliss, April 24, 2024, 4 years after the whole debacle with Vanessa Guillen and the uh, Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flowchart that was initiated, and Richard was the first soldier placed on the Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flowchart, um, declared the CONUS Dust 1 missing soldier, which I think that they lied to. Well, we know that they lied over and over, but I think they lied to us about this because, you know, if they lied to us legally on paper, they're in big, big trouble, because our son was officially declared deceased on Fort Bliss, murdered on Fort Bliss, um, July 23rd, 2020. But they did not give us that declaration until, get this, just wrap your head around this, April 24, 2024. That's right, this year. April 24, 2024. And Richard was the very first soldier to be placed on the Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flowchart that was supposed to be a gesture, a whole revamping of the system, since the same leadership, the same individuals that were conducting the investigation over Vanessa Guillen was the same individuals, the same failed leaders, the same compromised leaders, and Richard Halliday's case, our son's case at Fort Bliss, Fort Hood and Fort Bliss. Now, Fort Hood is now Fort Cavazos. They had to confuse things on paper. Changing names confuses things. The worst cases coming out of Fort Hood, of course. So many bad cases coming out of, I just think of Elder Fernandez. And I want to have a shout out to Elder Fernandez's parents, um, his family, especially his mother and his aunt. It just, our prayers are always with you. Um, our hearts break all the time, for what happened to Elder Fernandez's at Fort Hood, what happened to, and a shout out to the Guillen family. Our hearts break. for years. I would say we've been calling this out, working very, very hard uh, for our son, of course, with the knowledge that it is for our brothers and sisters in uniform that have absolutely suffered at the hands of these compromised leaders in our military, that have infiltrated our military, that are compromised with the Mexican cartel. It's very clear, with the trafficking, with real estate deals to and these LLCs to launder the money, um, and also to control many veterans and soldiers, we believe, through the disability benefits, to control them, right? Because, of course, um, that's an easy way to control people, to compromise people. And, is Richard's case huge? Is it one of the, if not, because it's in the running for the biggest case in the U.S. history when it comes to exposing our military's failures, and the compromises, and the connection with the trafficking, criminal trafficking. You would think that the drug trafficking is only at no, but it's a child sex trafficking. The child trafficking, I don't know if I'm allowed to say all that. The child traffic, I get so shadow banned because people don't want to hear the honest conversation, and I'm trying to do this um, all by memory, trying to keep track of all of this. Um, but it is also the weapons trafficking and the ammunition trafficking. Very, very, all of it is very lucrative. It is really a demonic business. It really is. All of it is, because it's a war. It's a death. It's a death business. It just deals in death on all fronts. The drugs, the child trafficking, and the weapons and the ammunition trafficking, and of course the child corn trafficking, and I would even say the the organ trafficking. For a long time, we heard that this was going on, and it was just so horrific for us. We couldn't even mention it. I couldn't even mention it. Um, the thought of it, is just too much to bear. But it is absolutely going on, and I had to mention it to let people understand the level of evil that these people descend to. And they're not people, they're monsters. They really are monsters, and they descend to that. Um, so, oh gosh, I have to take a minute. Christ have mercy on Team Fund Richard Halliday, to give us strength, um, to reveal what people need to know about the politics going forward. And I'm not going to claim to know everything going on. I can tell you this, that I'm very concerned that uh, Kamala Harris is getting the legitimacy that she is getting, because it goes with the legitimacy that the imposters on the El Paso criminal law magistrate court have been, they are imposters. They need to be elected. They're not. They have no business sitting on the bench wearing our beautiful robes, carrying our beautiful gavel and our beautiful system. They are contaminating our system, and also violating the Texas Constitution. And like that, Kamala Harris, kept from us years of the truth about what was going on with Biden, and the DNC put forward Biden, knowing knowing the mental health um, problems that were going on, which reminds me of Patrick Crusius and Joe Spencer. And, just like Kamala Harris, that absolutely knew about these mental health problems, Joe Spencer knew about the mental health condition, the autism that Patrick Crusius had for years. And it kept that and also profited off of it from taxpayers, from state and federal. And I want to make everyone aware that Joe Spencer is getting paid by state and federal funds. He is not the defense attorney getting paid by the family or by Patrick Crusius. Um, and I can tell you some stories, but no, he is getting that money from state and federal funds, millions and millions of dollars of larceny in the heart against the American people, and keeping from us the fact, just like Kamala Harris has, and I'm not picking on the DNC. Well, I am, I guess, but not because they're the DNC, but because they have violated our trust, that they um, keep very, very important information from us. And this is what Joe Spencer, who, has been getting millions of dollars from taxpayers, and we're not allowed to know. They have it all sealed. We have done FOIAs. This is our money. We want to know what's in the case. We want to know how much is spent. We want to know. And they're keeping information that we're paying for from us. And this is, Patrick Crusius. He has already been convicted and sentenced to 1,000 years in prison at a very high secure prison called the Alcatraz of the Rockies in Colorado. You can look it up. Now, why do they, delay, and charge American taxpayers, state and federal, millions and millions of dollars to Joe Spencer, who is going to keep very important information like the mental health conditions, including autism, of his client from us that are very, and then, um, keep this case going and going and going and going, and keep it sealed and keep it, whatever, this stupid gag order that was only meant for Yvonne Rosales because Bill Hicks has broken the gag order. The judge himself has broken his own gag order. And why am I talking about this? Because tomorrow is the hearing, and it's been in the news. It's this ex parte communication that Bill Hicks, the imposter, like these imposter individuals, and the imposter Kamala Harris. This is like, and look, Bill Hicks is a Republican, right? So I'm not picking on one side or the other. I'm picking on those that are violating the law, that are impersonating government officials, that need to be arrested. And not only that, Kamala Harris just recently committed a hate crime. Now, the federal government, not just, but, in Patrick Crusius' case, they just sentenced him to 1,000 years in prison, just about 1,000 years, call it 900, call it 1,000, whatever. Um, it, you know, in prison in the most high secure, uh, Alcatraz of the Rockies prison for hate crime, right? For crime and gun. And yet, Kamala Harris on live TV, right? On TV, she commits an egregious hate crime against Christians. That means me, against Christians. and nothing is done about it, she needs to be arrested. What is good for Patrick Crusius is good for Kamala Harris, right? I mean, so not only there's so many comparisons going on, and so I'm very concerned that people are not making these same connections like we are in this case. And then going back to Joe Spencer, and I want to stay on this. There's so many threads that need to be weaved together. And so I hope I can do it justice. And, because Joe Spencer was up to no good, is up to no good, is up to no good now. And we absolutely suspect him because of everything that has happened in the last 4 years, everything that we have weaved together, put together, um, puzzle piece together, everything. He is really up to no good. And he's how did we connect him? We connected him to Leilani Hart. We connected Joe Spencer to Leilani Hart, convicted criminal Leilani Hart. Okay, and what does Leilani Hart have with Joe Spencer, right? Why are they connected? And and I hope I can weave this together. So Joe Spencer uh, got the case of Patrick Crusius, the defense attorney. We know that he's up to no good with Patrick Crusius. We know that he absolutely doesn't care about his client. He has just kept his client in isolation for over 5 years. Now, you can say what you want. You can whatever about Patrick Crusius and his involvement in this. But we don't even know his involvement in this because we haven't had a trial. We really don't know the truth. All we have is speculation. We don't have the evidence laid out and weaved together in front of us in a trial. We have paid millions and millions of dollars, and we don't have the witness on the stand. We don't have the jury. We don't. What we do have is ex parte communications and backroom deals. That's what we have. And we have the scheming, the threats, and the scheming to remove and replace a duly elected district attorney, Yvonne Rosales, who absolutely was bringing forward the Walmart mass shooting case. And we absolutely know that she was looking into Richard Halliday's case. We absolutely know that. And of course she would, because Richard Halliday's case is intertwined with the Walmart mass shooting case. Okay? They are, when one gets solved, the other. And so if that goes to trial, we would absolutely know about what's going on with Richard's case. And if Richard's case goes forward, then we would absolutely know what's going on with the Walmart mass shooting case. And we know that Joe Spencer, through the media, okay, you can just look at the media, was accused by Yvonne Rosales for backroom deals. Backroom deals, right? That she obtained $3 million of funding. I believe it was from the state. Maybe it was state and federal, but I believe it was from the state. That she had received this money, and this is all in the spring and summer of 2022 when all of this happened, okay? So she obtained $3 million for the Walmart mass shooting case to prosecute that case, okay? Now, it is interesting to mention that Patrick Crusius has been convicted, right? And yet the state will fund, I think it's like 14 or 15 individuals to work his case. And that is paid for by state and federal money. Why? This is an open shut case. It's an open shut case. There are witnesses, there are forensics, there are bullets, there are so many witnesses, there are bodies, there are pictures. And you still can find some. They're very hard to find online, but you still can find some. And so it's an open shut case because of all of the evidence. So, this, all this delay and all these excuses, and now Bill Hicks, tomorrow we think, oh, him saying, oh yeah, Joe Spencer did ex parte communications with Judge Madrano, and so therefore I need to read through these. I didn't know about them. I need some time. Like 5 years. It's over 5 years. Over 5 years is not enough. He'll be whining and whining, and then going and dining and dining, whining and dining himself, but he'll be whining to keep this flowing, right? And it really is what I'm about to tell you. When Yvonne Rosales mentioned, and really she announced she was transparent, as she should be, because this was a crime against the people, and the people are paying for this prosecution and the defense of it, and the people should be informed of what's going on, right? And she let everyone know that she had received $3 million. Now, that's a big deal because that means she has some power. She has some power in her pocket. She can hire some people and she can move the case forward. And now it was reported, and you can find this in the media, and you have to hunt for it. And when you have a code red murdered son that's connected with this case, then you go and you hunt for this stuff. And so she was absolutely threatened by Joe Spencer. And because of the threats that we have received, because of the intimidation that we have received, because of the media plays that are very obvious in this case, really possibly the biggest case in American history, possibly, if not really. I mean, it's so big, and for the media plays on it, it's a wowzer. It's like, really, yeah, because Richard was the first Vanessa Guillen absent soldier. And absolutely, the military should have been all over this case to make it an example of their commitment to their soldiers. And yet they were absolutely derelict in their duty and lied to our face continually, and diverted attention from it, did not cover it, did not meet their promises, did not meet the requirements by the Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flowchart. They did not meet those obligations. They did not keep their promises. They did not have their op board, really. They didn't have an op board. So, which is very, very telling, right? And in the like fashion is Joe Spencer making backroom deals with Judge Madrano. Okay? Making backroom deals with Judge Madrano, because Judge Madrano over and over and over again we're being informed that he is very corrupt. And, so we're just collecting all of this evidence, and it looks so bad for him. It looks very, very bad for him. He should, it's like, um, I think even the imposters from the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court feel sorry for Judge Medrano, and they're in trouble. They are imposters, and they are absolutely should be arrested for the amount of tampering and botching of cases that they have done over there at the Mag Court. So, and I think that they're feeling sorry for Judge Medrano as criminals to criminals, right? As criminals might feel to criminals because they know, if one gets caught, I don't know. I don't know if they even feel sorry. I don't know. I think they're just brutal. I think that they are just, doggy dog, let's just be doggy dog. Um, so, yeah, I just don't see any compassion there at all. I don't see any care for the El Pasoans, the American people, the American taxpayers that have to foot the bill for all of this disaster, this criminal activity. And when you have a defense lawyer threatening a duly elected district attorney for removal, right? For removal. Um, that's pretty serious. That's very serious. And when in the summer, so in the spring, she got the money. They were not happy about that. They wanted to stop her. They, thought that they could just probably intimidate her, threaten her, removal. Um, and then in the summer, she announced that she was, hoping to get a date. That's really, really all she said, Um, and you can read it in the media, just hoping to get a date. And I think that that was, just like, okay, I'm not going to stop. I want to move this Walmart mass shooting and Richard Halliday's cases forward. I want to do my job. I want to do my job at, identifying the crime and documenting the crime and prosecuting the crime, right? I want to do my job. So, but very quickly after that, Judge Medrano came out, and I'm doing this by memory, and I think it was July 1st. So, and I can remember that date easily because my birthday is July 2nd. So, I can remember that date. So, July 1st, I believe July 1st, he came out and he said, I think he did the gag order and everything like that. So, meant for Yvonne Rosales, right? Just to really clamp down on the case. And of course, then Bill Hicks and Bob Moore and Justin Underwood scheme to then remove and replace Yvonne Rosales. Um, Lots happening there with other things going on, but now we have Bill Hicks confirming in his own way, uh, because maybe he's feeling the pressure of being illegitimate, being a usurper, tampering with government records. Maybe he's feeling the pressure of his crimes. I don't know. I don't know. I hope so. I hope so. And he's coming out and ex parte, speaking in his cover up language, ex parte communications, which are illegal. He's pointing his finger at it because he knows very well that there is a lot of talk about these backroom deals between Joe Spencer and Judge Medrano. And so, maybe I don't know. I don't know how that's all going to play out. Tomorrow's going to be very, very interesting. And, the comparisons in so many of these crimes that, it's like the same blueprint, the same methods, the same, it's over and over and over again. And it's like they're, agents of a group that have the same playbook or something like this. And I love football. I love football. I know about playbooks, um, and you memorize that playbook. And I think they've only had like one playbook that they just memorize over and over, and it's been working for them. But I don't think it works anymore for them. I think I don't. I think they've been caught. I think they have been caught, um, and they're getting very, very desperate. And the same military leadership that absolutely just treated us so criminally horrendous, absolutely horrendous. My husband right here, decorated veteran, 30-year service. They, our son, distinguished honor graduate, volunteer, young soldier with so many aspirations, including, being the guide on bearer and wanting to be CID, the Criminal Investigator Division. He wanted to be an agent, and to have the CID um, be the prime suspect in his code red murder. It's just absolutely heartbreaking and horrendous. Um, and It's so criminal. And there has to be accountability because it's a national security threat, and they learned nothing from, uh, uh, I'm just going to name one, Vanessa Guillen, because her name has been out in the news quite a bit. They didn't learn anything from her case. It was absolutely um, so criminal. So criminal what they did to her and what they did to Richard. And and we want our son's remains. Okay, we want our son's remains. Um, and so she's been out in the news because they are using her case against Trump, and I don't fully. I have my suspicions of why they're doing it, but I want to say thank you. I want to really do a call out, uh, just a big hug out to the Guillen family for swiftly correcting the record. And it's so important to see the level of lies that these, who are they, these demons? The level of lies that they will tell. Okay, it is. Um, and so when you see the level of lies that they have told about the Vanessa Guillen and Trump and all of that, and you know that those are lies, and that, it's so egregious that you have to, like, no one would tell a lie like that. Yes, they would, and we're here to tell it. They lie to our with the biggest egregious lies. It took them. Richard was, all eyes, the very first soldier on the Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flowchart. The very first, after they found Vanessa's remains, and they were forced. Even Sean Bernabe, I don't even want to call him a lieutenant general because he's such a criminal. He's such a criminal, and he even said it, that they have to be driven to do anything that's good, right? And to make these changes. It's like, you mean finding Vanessa's dismembered remains, burnt, charred under the concrete, under the lime, in a foxhole? That's not enough? That doesn't drive you? It's getting caught. It's finding, it, and you cover up and lie and set us up. You wouldn't believe what he tried to do, set us up, and we didn't fall for it. He wanted to come to South Carolina. We said, no, stay away, you demon. Satan, get behind me. Because they were lying to our face. And now, so I want to tell you that I believe, Myra, that what is being said in the news is absolutely a lie, and they will lie. They will lie to that extent. And look at what they did with Biden. Look at what Kamala did with Biden. For years, lying. I mean, we're talking about that kind of level of lying with our funded government, our beloved government. We love our system, and they are polluting it, contaminating it with their lies, with their fraud, waste, and abuse, their sex cult activity, desecrating our beautiful buildings that we pay for. We pay for it all. And it's the people's house, and it's the people's capital. And, that we need to understand the level of lies and desecration that they are committing. And the desperation because of this usurpation, this that they did in the office, just like what they did with Bill Hicks, the forced, well, the scheming to manipulate, to remove and replace a duly elected district attorney to keep them from doing their job with someone like Bill Hicks that is, look at his record, just terrible finances. Now he's probably doing good, because of the larceny in his heart and the crime in his heart. But it's, this usurpation, this willingness to lie and manipulate with Bob Moore. And I'm going to connect Leilani Hart into this all now. Because Leilani Hart had a motive to be used by Bob Moore in many ways. Number one, because her son, Dallas Hart, was Richard's platoon leader, and he's the prime suspect, the number one prime suspect in the murder of our son. Okay? But she has another son too. And he was being investigated. Texas Heart was being investigated by Yvonne Rosales. So not only was Richard's case, meaning Dallas Hart, being investigated, but Texas Heart was being investigated also for abusing drugs, abusing alcohol, and underage, right? And resisting arrest, right? So he was being investigated for that. The Hart family was being investigated by Yvonne Rosales. She had a huge motive to lie and manipulate and, work with Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, of El Paso Community Foundation. And this is where it comes together. Bob Moore had a motive also, because El Paso Matters is largely owned, I think maybe all owned, but largely owned by El Paso Community Foundation, which Yvonne Rosales was investigating for the fraudulent distribution of the funds of the Walmart mass shooting victims' funds. that had come in the millions. So El Paso Matters, Bob Moore had a motive against Yvonne Rosales. Leilani Hart had a motive against Yvonne Rosales. Bill Hicks, well, he was a mess, y'all. His life was a mess, a stinking mess. What did he have to lose? And I want to say he also had a motive because he had conflicts of interest with the Hart family. Okay? Major conflicts of interest with the Hart family and more and more. And, of course, with the Walmart mass shooting, with Purchase Funeral Homes and, and more, right? So when you have the Purchase Funeral Homes, which is a Mexican operation that is allowed to function in El Paso, and it is his largest contributor, okay? And we absolutely know that there's a lot of compromise here with the Mexican cartel. So, you can, read between the lines, whatever, do your own research. So the motive for Bill Hicks to get involved with this scheming to remove and replace, the motive for Yvonne, for Leilani Hart to remove and replace, to work with Bob Moore in sabotaging the Walmart mass shooting case and Richard Halliday's case is absolutely clear. And so, and she is a convicted criminal, one of the prime suspects in the case, and he is using a prime suspect with a convicted criminal history and more. Oh my gosh, she's, let's not forget. So she has this household that's in big trouble. A prime suspect in the code red murder of a Fort Bliss whistleblower soldier, and then this activist singer that is also used. Texas Hart was an activist singer. Okay, so he was very into the politics, and then used up in Dallas with Angela Kachurga's husband, interviewed for the Walmart mass shooting case. Okay? And he is being investigated by Yvonne Rosales for this drug abuse and the underage drinking, alcohol abuse, and the resisting arrest, right? I mean, and then she enters in a affidavit that she notarizes, implicating them with the child porn, with the 7-year-old in her master bedroom, right? Multiple members of her household, implicating them with sex cult activity among themselves. Am I allowed to say it that way? I don't know. It's so bad. It's so bad. The point is, when you're involved in illegal weapons, when you have no limit of degradation and crimes against the most vulnerable amongst us, and then no respect for our military and our media and the people of El Paso, because when she lies through the media, she is showing disrespect to all the people in El Paso, to our military veterans. And this is really considering that her husband is supposed to be for veterans benefits, disabled veterans benefits, right? I mean, wow. So the absolute brand of her hate, and I put that song out yesterday, kind of like in a rock, right? In a rock, because it is, it's hard to hear. It scratches your soul, right? Her brand of hate scratches your soul. It just, it's so polluting. It's so contaminating. There's nothing nice about it, and it's through lust, through sex, things that are supposed to be beautiful and intimate. She changes to be ugly and abusive and hurtful and deadly. Deadly. They deal with death. They deal with death. And don't forget about her other son, Etty, who absolutely has a very suspicious death. I've been notified by several people that knew him, uh, you know, that this was a suspicious death. Multiple people um, that you could even see online. So if they still have it up, So it's, you know, um, and Bob Moore used her to hurt Richard. To hurt Richard. He used her to hurt Richard. And to hurt Yvonne Rosales. And to hurt the Walmart mass shooting victims. Now, I was told by, and I need to respond to this person. What is her name? Let's see if I have her name on here in my notes. But she came on, I guess, today, and she said, "Why are you still talking about the Walmart mass shooting? People really died." Yes. Oh my God. It is so bad, y'all. It is so bad. And they are retaliating against the very people that want justice for these victims. I mean, it was so bad, y'all. People were absolutely brutally murdered. And they want to play politics with this. So yes, and this is my son's case, and it's totally intertwined with Bliss Avenue, with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia and Danae Katzen and Jonathan Ambrose, and those connections with KTSM, and those connections with Leilani Hart. Danae Katzen has connections with Leilani Hart. Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia has connections with Leilani Hart. They were unhinged in their criminal activity. Thoughtless in their criminal activity. Absolutely thoughtless and unhinged. And they left a trail. They left a trail because they targeted us. Leilani targeted us. Danae Katzen targeted us. Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia and her family targeted us. And they are connected to the Walmart mass shooting, to the removal and the replacement of Yvonne Rosales, and the rest I'll leave up to you. And of course, they are the prime suspects, the Hart, Dallas Hart, Richard's platoon leader, and Leilani, with Tavita Nusa, the CID agent, totally compromised. that is a prime suspect. And Joe Spencer, do not think for a minute that Joe Spencer is not connected to Leilani Hart. He's connected to her. And, you know, this is really the biggest case. I think, I say possibly the biggest case. I haven't, you could think of maybe JFK. JFK may be the biggest case. Um, yeah, maybe JFK. This is possibly just, it's at that level. The Just so big. Possibly the biggest case in American history. And it's international. It involves the Mexican cartel, but more so it involves the compromised and dereliction of duty of our military leadership that we entrust our volunteer sons and daughters to. And they have an obligation, as Ted Cruz has said, to care for our service members. And I think that he got that right. He got that right, and he spoke it out loud. And this is, there needs to be accountability. And the accountability is not going to come from a usurper. It needs to be from, in El Paso's case, the holdover district attorney. She only has a little bit of time. And, we heard some positive things coming from her camp. I alluded to a Joan of Arc kind of triumph. Come out, Yvonne Rosales, be a Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc had to face incredible enemies, but you have to have faith. Yvonne Rosales, and this is why, but positive things. I'm just talking off my head. Moses. I'm sure she knows this because positive things are coming out. Like she's understanding the politics of the time, and the people are understanding what is going on. And I want to make sure that everyone understands this. Yvonne Rosales, no matter what, you could put everything aside of the forced, you can even say it wasn't forced, you can say the removal and the replacement of a duly elected district attorney, Yvonne Rosales. The fact of the matter is, when they removed her, they did not replace her. Okay? They were successful in removing her, but they were not successful in replacing her. Bill Hicks screwed up. He screwed up. Call it a God thing. God, you're so great. It's a God thing. He screwed up. He did not sign the anti-bribe line. He did not sign it before he took the oath. He did not sign it. The law says he is not the district attorney because you have to sign the anti-bribe line before you take the oath of office. The law says, the Texas Constitution says that. The law says he is not the district attorney. They never replaced her. He is a usurper. He's a trespasser. The law says that he is not the DA, that the DA is the holdover DA. Who is the holdover DA? The person that resigned. The person that, for whatever reason, as long as they're alive, they're the holdover DA. And guess who that is? Yvonne Rosales, the duly elected district attorney. The law says Yvonne Rosales is the district attorney. The very district attorney that was looking into the Walmart mass shooting case and wanted to bring it forward and was being transparent with the people, telling the people that she got the money, that she wanted to set a date for the trial. The very district attorney that was looking into Richard's case, and the Hart family, be it Dallas Hart, be it uh, Texas Hart, be it Leilani, the Hart family, and also the El Paso Community Foundation distribution of the Walmart victims funds, the Walmart mass shooting case victims funds. That very district attorney is the holdover district attorney. The law says she is a district attorney, not Bill Hicks. The law says. And the law says that those individuals at the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court are imposters. They are imposters. They are committing crimes. They're contaminating our beautiful mag court there in El Paso that has full countywide jurisdiction. They need to be arrested, and individuals need to be vetted through an election, and the people need to elect them to serve as judges on that court. That's what the law says. It's a beautiful thing. The law is a beautiful thing. It's beautiful. And it's for the people. It's for the people, by the people, of the people, under God. It's a beautiful thing. And that's what the law says. And we need to get back to the law. They're violating the law. So you have the DA violating the law. You have these imposters at the MAG court violating the law. And you have Kamala Harris violating the law because she committed a hate crime against Christians in my book. Or at least I accuse her. I accuse her of committing a hate crime against Christians. Okay? And, when you're in that kind of powerful position, that is very dangerous. They assaulted those Christians and they denied them their rights, their civil rights. And that is a huge violation. She cannot be in the position that she's in because she lied. She lied and fraud, waste, and abused her way to that position. And I'm just saying, why in the world would they pick someone like her? Because it was the money. It was the Biden-Harris re-election campaign. They messed up. Instead of getting another candidate that was mentally stable, could mentally handle the job because they knew that he was aging and that, everyone knows when you're aging, it's something that we need to look at. Some people are very, very sharp and have a lot of energy. A lot of energy, are very sharp, like Donald Trump. You can't deny that from him. He's very sharp, very sharp. And what they're saying about him when it comes to the Vanessa Guillen case, I believe Myra Guillen, they are, because I know from our own experience, they make the biggest, most egregious lies. It's a pattern with them. To shock people into, it's like a hypnosis, like we're going to fabricate the biggest lie so that people would say, oh, that can't be a lie. That has to be. No, it's a lie. And thank you, Myra Guillen, for setting the record straight. Thank you. God bless you for that. And going back to Donald Trump, he just received Our Lady of Guadalupe. He received that as a gift. because he posted that. He posted St. Michael. He posted St. Michael, the archangel, calmly, calmly thrusting death into the devil, right? Calmly. It's a great lesson. I need to stay calm, which is difficult when I think about what they did to my son, what they've done to our family. It's difficult, but I need to stay calm. Thank you, Lord, for the example of St. Michael, calmly, beautifully thrusting death into the devil. Thank you. So Trump received Our Lady of Guadalupe, Mother Mary. And we believe, because of Richard, we know Richard. One of the first things that these liars wanted to say was that Richard had no faith. We know different. He had great faith. Great faith. I mean, one of the boxes was a Christmas tree, a homemade ornament. He had a Christmas tree. This young soldier, he had a Christmas tree. And it wasn't a small Christmas tree. It was a big, medium-sized Christmas tree with all the trimmings. And we believe that they targeted Richard more severely because of their hate crimes towards Christians. I believe that part of Richard's Code Red murder was a hate crime, an absolute hate crime, because of his Christian faith and not putting up with the trafficking, the crimes against the children, the fraud, waste, and abuse of the trafficking when it came to the weapons and the ammunition and the drugs and what the violations going on in the barracks, the 14-year-old girl living in the barracks, I mean, being pimped out. I mean, really, the violations that Leilani Hart spoke of in her affidavit. Richard refused that, and because of his Christian faith, I think they targeted him more severely, and that was part of the Code Red decision, because they could have easily sent him to Korea. They knew that he joined from Korea. They knew that his sister was in Korea. They could have easily sent him to Korea, where the ADA is absolutely a huge force there in South Korea, and removed him. He asked to be transferred out of his unit. He was denied that. He was denied, and his unit was engaged in sex cult activity. All the vile and vulgar messages I've received is evidence for that statement. And, of course, Leilani Hart's confessions and communications that we have are evidence of that, and more. So, yes, I believe it was a hate crime. And it really concerned me that a major candidate to run this country just committed a hate crime, in my estimation, in my belief, in my opinion, she just committed a hate crime. And it is just absolutely, and I think it was a hate crime that was committed against the Guillen family right now with the lie. I think the lie itself was a hate crime, that they would conjure up such a hate crime, and they always do these divisive narratives to divide the American people, which I think is a hate crime. And so I just wanted to go on the record with all of that, and absolutely connect the dots to the politics. Yvonne Rosales, her reporting of backroom deals, Bill Hicks reporting the same thing, what we've been talking about all along. I mean, we're right again, right? We are right again that that there is absolutely a lot of no good going on between the defense and the prosecuting attorneys, that the Walmart mass shooting, everything. But these backdoor deals, um, and the connection with Leilani Hart, the Hart family, how they're all connected, and of course compromised with the Mexican cartel, um, and that all of our reports, all of our requests to even Bill Hicks about the danger that we are facing, um, and his dereliction of duty, before we even knew that he was a usurper. It's explained now. He's a usurper. There's no, the only DA to go to is Yvonne Rosales because she's a holdover DA. She is the DA. And the media needs to report that. And she needs to be the Joan of Arc. She needs to come out. She needs to put on her full armor of God, put that helmet on of truth, and yeah, uh, put on that faith, and start prosecuting. Start prosecuting and getting accountability for these egregious crimes. Thank you so much, everyone. Let me look at the comments. Anicia, thank you so much. Praying for justice. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nina. Blessings and prayers, Mrs. Holliday. Thank you so much. And I just want to just say um, we just want to thank you all so much, especially those that are in El Paso that are suffering through a non-functioning criminal judicial system and a compromised law enforcement system there, community there. Um, we just really want to thank you, for being brave and having to suffer through that and supporting us at the same time. We're very, very grateful. And we love you, and we're working hard to expose this and bring this to justice. Thank you. God bless you. And we will be back tomorrow, God willing.